am Mr. Auerbach. I will be your science teacher today. Quiz coming up tomorrow. Last thing we get to do before vacation. And so I thought I'd go over this with you. We're missing Tyler. Haley has to leave us, so I'm going to record this so I can upload it a little bit later. And you can see the parts that you missed or everything we're here for. So let's just go through this. So how are atoms and elements related? That's the first question. Who has an idea about that? How are atoms and elements related? Julia says...
An element is a specific kind of atom.
Okay, element...
Specific number of protons and electrons.
Okay, an element is a specific kind of atom, one or more, right? If I have one atom of gold, that's the element gold. If I have a brick of gold atoms, that's still element. So I don't think I have to write anything down for that. Do I? No, I don't think so. Okay, so sketch the structure of an atom. Label the protons, neutrons, nucleus, and electrons. What's that? Go ahead, come on up. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. The nucleus is in the center there. It's got all the neutrons. We're back. Hello. Okay, how are compounds different from elements? Somebody we haven't heard from yet. How are compounds different from elements? One type of atom. Compounds may, I want to say they may contain more than one kind of atom, because oxygen, O2, is still a compound, but may have more than one type of atom. Okay.
They're multiple atoms bonded together.
Okay, let's say okay, more than one atom. And you just said another one in the same sentence there. They're bonded together. Right. I might have two atoms of some substance, but they're not necessarily bonded together. If it's like an element, like a bunch of argon gas or whatever. There's a bunch of argon atoms in a little vial, but maybe they're not bonded with each other. Whereas in sodium chloride or H2O or something like that, they're bonded together chemically and they're not going to come apart very easily. Okay, more than one atom bonded together chemically. What's one more thing? Somebody knew. Is that a chemical compound has a definite ratio. Definite ratio of one thing to another. H2O, NH3, NaCl. There's always a definite ratio of one thing to another. That is the difference between an element and a compound. The main idea, ions form when atoms gain or lose electrons. What is an ion? What is an ion? Anthony says.
Atom or molecule with a loss or gain of an electron.
Yes, atom or molecule that gains or loses an electron. So here's, let's give it a couple. This one's one wide.
Because it's got one square?
It's got one space left. You can hold 8 out here, and it can take one more. So, but the thing is, let's not forget. Okay, first of all, back to basic atomic stuff. How many protons do you think this atom has?
9.
9. Yes, that is correct. 9, because there's 9 electrons out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's an empty space. And so that means because there's 9 electrons, which are negative, you're going to have 9 protons, which are positive. Because a neutral atom always balances out. And so this is why we talk about electrical charge. When an atom gains an electron, like let's say it gets this electron, nope. Let's say it gets this electron. from some other element, from some other atom. Now, it doesn't have 9 electrons to the 9 protons. Now, it has 10. And so if we look at the difference between charges, no longer is there the same number of protons and electrons. There's 1 extra electron. And that's going to give this a positive charge, whatever it is. It turns out this would be fluorine, which isn't up there, of course. Oh yeah, it's right there. Fluorine. Fluorine. Number 9, right? It had 9 protons. But because it gained an extra electron, it's going to be the fluorine minus 1 ion. Because it gained an electron, which is negative. And on the other side, if you had, we'll do one more example. Is this, am I showing up over here?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do sodium, which is number 11. We'd have 11 positive charges, then we'd have 2 here, we'd have 8 here, and we'd have 1 more. This wants to lose this electron because, will somebody turn the gas off for me? I think the coffee's ready.
Which one is it?
It's
Turn everything
top crank.
down.
Wait, which
Turn
way?
to the right.
Ah.
Righty-tighty.
Is it good?
Lefty, explode the classroom. No. Thank you.
Very excited, glad to explode the class.
Yeah, right.
Can I explode?
Nope, not today.
That's
Yes. Maybe next week.
So here we are with this element, and this one wants to lose this electron because if it loses this electron, it will be happy like the noble gases, and it'll have a nice full outer shell with 8 electrons. So it gets rid of this electron, gives it to someone else. Gives it to a hobo electron on the street. Need electrons. Will work for electrons. And so now it's gone from having 11 protons and 11 electrons. Now it lost 1, so it only has 10. And that gives it a charge also plus 1. You have 1 more positive than negative because you lost a negative electron. And so that makes this the sodium Na plus 1 ion. So ions gain or lose electrons, and it gives them a charge, gives them an electrical charge. Okay, how are we doing? This one would, yeah, because it loses a negative electron, and so it has 1 more proton than electrons, and so that gives it a positive charge. That's correct. Okay, we just talked about all 3 of these questions. So, what is an ion? It's an atom that gains or loses an electron. Why does it have an electrical charge? Because it has either more protons than electrons, or more electrons than protons. That's why it has an electric charge. And then number 6, I just showed how a positive ion forms and how a negative ion forms. Right?
A covalent bond is when atoms are sharing a pair of electrons.
What do we think, folks? Correct? Incorrect?
That's what
Fantastic Nobel Prize.
when you have
Well, then they can do double bonds. That's like carbon. Carbon has 4 outer electrons. Oops, I didn't draw a circle. Here's the outer shell of carbon. It has 4 electrons because it's number 6. So it has the 2. It has 2 in here, and it has 4 on the outside. And it could form. It could form with hydrogen, which has 1 electron, and that would require it to form 4 bonds. Right? Because then between them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's getting the electrons that it needs that way. Okay, number 9. The answer to number 9: atoms held together by covalent bonds is a molecule. Composed of different types of atoms is a compound. Number 11, composed of 1 type of atom is an element. Atom that has gained or lost electrons is an ion. And number 13, what's the difference between ionic and covalent bonds formed? My goodness, haven't we talked about this enough? But anyway, just in case you at home are still not caught up to this yet,
Tyler.
covalent bonds, Tyler,
Hope you
covalent
hear me.
bonds share electrons. Ionic bonds give or take electrons. Got it? Okay. And Haley, you
Good,
too.
got it, good.
Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, properties of water. This is important. Okay, what's a polar molecule? We talked about this. Polar molecule is any molecule that has a separation of charge. And we're not going to go into the extreme molecular nature of this. We're just going to say that for example, a water molecule, the water molecule itself has a partially negative charge near the oxygen. It has a partially positive charge near the hydrogen. Okay? It's fine. It's fine. Am I going too fast? Do you have a question, a follow-up question?
No, I missed something.
Okay, good. We are on number 1 of section 2, on page 3. Number 1, section 2, page 3. Polar molecule is any molecule that has a separation of charge, a positive and negative side. Explain why water is a polar molecule. Water is a polar molecule because it has a slightly negative charge near the oxygen, slightly positive charge near the hydrogens.
Like 100% sure, so.
Take a guess, there's nothing wrong with being
Is
wrong.
it like an attraction between hydrogen atom? I'm
It's-
probably wrong.
It's an attraction between a hydrogen atom
Oh, mine is so wrong.
and what else? Jane?
And a slightly negative atom, usually oxygen or nitrogen.
Right, right. So what it is, it's between the hydrogen of one molecule of say water and the oxygen of another, because this is negative, and don't forget these are positive, and so that's why they're attracted to each other, you guys. They're attracted to each other because one side of each of these is slightly positive, one side is slightly negative, and so that means when you put other ones around, oh, that's facing the wrong way. When you put other ones around, they're going to line up so that the positive side of one is facing the negative side of another. They're like magnetically attracted to each other. This is very important. This causes all the properties of water. But number 4, where a hydrogen bond can form among water molecules is between the hydrogen of one water molecule and the oxygen of another. Okay. We didn't. Okay, so then we have this table, and one is high specific heat, and that makes water. Let's see, hard to heat up, just as hard to cool down. Oh, and this stabilizes Earth's temperatures. Stabilizes Earth's temperatures because if we didn't have water, then the Earth would heat up a lot more during the day when it's facing the sun, parts of the Earth that are facing the sun, and it would drop to freezing really, really quickly as soon as the sun was gone. But as it is, it heats up slowly during the day, and it cools off slowly during the evening.
Okay, is that why deserts are really hot during the day and then get really, really cold at night?
Yes, that's correct.
Alright.
That's correct. We were talking about how Florida and Saudi Arabia are on the same latitude. Latitude? Longitude. They're on the same longitude. But Saudi Arabia gets really hot during the day and really cold at night because there's not a lot of water around it, whereas Florida is pretty much surrounded by water, and so that stabilizes the temperature. So it gets warm, but not as warm, and it cools off, but not nearly as much. Believe me, if you live there, it never cools off. It's like 95 during the day, and it cools off to 85 at night. That's awesome. Okay, cohesion. Water molecules are attracted to each other. Right, and that leads to surface tension. And then adhesion is when H2O molecules attracted to other polar substances like wood, glass, paper, cotton, sugars, stuff like that. Okay, so there's that. Tyler? That's right.
You probably won't even watch this.
You better. Okay, number 8, what's the difference between a solvent and a solute? The solute is the stuff that dissolves. The solvent is the stuff it dissolves in. So if you put sugar into, I put sugar into my coffee. My coffee was the solvent. Technically, really, the water in my coffee was the solvent. And the sugar was the solute that dissolved. Okay. What types of substances dissolve easily in water?
Polar molecules.
Polar molecules, yes. Polar and ionic substances like sugar is polar, salt is ionic. They all dissolve in water. What's that?
Sodium chloride.
Sodium chloride, right? That dissolves in water. And it's because the charged nature of polar molecules means that they're attracted to the water molecules in the solution, and so they're going to stay attracted to them and not settle out of the solution. Whereas something like mud or oil or grease, it's not attracted to the water molecules, so it's just going to drop to the bottom of the solution. It won't be a solution. It'll just be the water. Okay, so number 10, nonpolar substances do not dissolve easily in water. Okay, and characteristics of acids and bases. And the first thing asks us, what's the main kind of ion? In an acid, what's the main kind of ion?
How do you do it?
Hydrogen.
That is correct. Hydrogen ion. Positive hydrogen ion is the main thing in an acid like HCl, H2SO4, HNO3. Those are all acids, and they all have in common this hydrogen atom that ionizes or detaches when it's in solution. And what's that?
Are you going to have us give examples?
No,
Okay.
probably not. And then, so with bases, can somebody tell me what the main ion is that comes out of solution with bases?
I'm not pass.
Okay, can you just interpret?
Isn't it OH?
OH, that is correct. Very good. OH -1. Right, OH negative.
Funny.
By the way, when you see a plus or a minus and there's no number next to it, it means -1 or +1. It's like algebra. You know, if you just have x, it means 1 times x. It's the same thing. With this, if you just have plus, it means +1. If you have minus, it means -1. Okay, and the other question asks us, what is the effect on pH, or what is the relative pH of acids? Would be less than 7. Relative pH of bases is, guess what? Greater than 7. And what is neutral? H2O is 7, which is neutral. Okay. Alright. That's pretty much it. That's all.
Tyler, wake up!
Tyler! Tyler, wake up! Class is over!
You're gonna miss the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Last one.
Oh yeah, last question. What are 5 characteristics of living things?
Extreme close-up.
Extreme close-up, 5 characteristics of living things. Think fast, think fast. So, what do we got, folks?
Metabolism.
Metabolism,
DNA.
DNA,
Really
cells,
Reproduction.
reproduction, response to the environment,
Homeostasis.
and homeostasis.
That's
That is all.